Welcome. This is For Better and Worth,
the podcast where we don't believe you have to sacrifice your relationship while you build your net worth.
We are your hosts.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Ericka Young. And we're so glad you joined us today.
All right, y'all, come on. Let's get into it. Hello, we're back.
Yes, what's up, husband? I'm excited about this conversation today.
Look, before we get going, is there anything else you need to know about this topic we're gonna get into? Before we get into it,
there probably is something that I need to know, and I'm pretty sure that just along the way, I'll just ask you because I don't know what the questions are that I'm gonna have for you. To be honest,
fortunately, you have me here with you, so. Because I know a little bit about everything.
So. Oh, Lord, here we go. So, yeah, you think you know a little bit about everything.
Hold on now, player. Press pause on that. Because, I go wide and deep.
You do, and that bothers me because half the time I don't be knowing the answers to stuff, and I come to you as if you are Mr. Google. Thank you very much.
That's why we make a good team.
We balance each other out. It's all good. It's all good.
We're gonna get into this. Not in this life, or more like NIL. Name, image, likeness. Mm-hmm. And some of you out there who aren't in sports may not know what that is, but I don't know how anybody couldn't know what NIL is now when we talk about amateur sports and college athletics. And I'm like, get your money.
Yeah, it's a fairly recent topic. What, a year ago or even 2 years?
I think it's been like a couple years.
Yeah.
It's fresh.
That's the whole fresh. Point. And it's really interesting to see how it's showing up on college and university campuses. And so a couple of weeks ago, we had this conversation and it really started to get...
It was more like a debate.
Yes, actually it was. So I figured, you know what, let's bring that to our podcast studio and let our listeners, allow them to hear, our little banter because I don't think we 100% agree here. And that too is okay.
Look, I was wondering, man, do we take this to the podcast? Do people want to hear about this? And how does it relate to relationships and money? Because just so you all know, I'm a huge college football fan. I don't spend all Saturday watching, college sports, but when you talk about sports in general, I'm a college football fan first. And so when you start talking about name, image, likeness and college athletics, I have opinions about that.
You do, because you were a college athlete. You were, and I think that is something that is really close to your heart. I think that I get a chance to have a differing perspective somewhat because that was never in my, playground for college. It was like struggle bus. Let me get out here and try and keep some of these scholarships and get out of here when I can, right? There was not even the idea of what... I just wasn't an athlete. And I didn't even hang around athletes. I actually hung around the engineering nerds.
Well, I'm a be real with people. I know I should have been like 1AA, D2, easily full scholarship. But I did play some college sports.
So what happened? What happened to the dream, babe?
Well, reality kicked in, and
what was the reality?
I went to a small D3 school. I didn't get a full ride, and so. When I wasn't getting money, I was like, hold on, I'm not sacrificing my body to be out here playing for fun and hobby. So I really just started to focus on school. But I think all of that aside, you and I we know that college isn't for everyone. But I think college is an important road that, kids should take. And I don't believe in them going into a lot of debt to do that. But overall, I believe college is important. And with college athletics and athletes... Yeah, they're getting scholarships, but let's get down to it, man. These football programs, football pays for every other sport on college campuses.
And a lot of the big ones, yes. When football is the program that is, really big on campus, yes, it can pay for all of the other sports programs to exist.
And I know that may not be true at every single college or university out there, but not every school out there is going to have NIL deals for all their kids. And here's the fact, like some of these football programs make 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $100 million a year. And though the kids are getting scholarships and they get, stipends for some of their own personal care, we're talking about $100 million.
Yeah. And NIL, so let's be clear, because you level set with me as well on this. NIL deals doesn't mean that the school is paying anything above those scholarships necessarily. That's not where the NIL deal comes from. It comes from outside of the university's purview,
The business
right?
community.
Yes. And so there are also, just
brands.
groups. Yeah, groups that get together to support certain players and that kind of thing. And so it is not school sponsored. And so they're not getting a piece of the equity of that earning from the football program, for instance, right?
It's funny how we talk about like equity, and you and I are all about equity and inclusion and diversity, but when it comes to sports, your talent is what is going to set you apart. That's what's going to set you up to get scholarships. Like, we've got friends and their son, he had a bunch of offers. He just accepted a Division I football scholarship, and all they were concerned about was him going to school for free. I don't know if he's gonna get big NIL deals. I don't know if he'll go. But
they also were concerned with. So he had a couple of options to go to school for free, but they also definitely wanted him to go to
a bigger program.
Right?
They want him to go to a Power 5 school.
Yeah. So I think that it's a big thing for families to have to consider. And then when you're in the program, when you're in college, and you're looking to literally get a degree, because the truth is, we told our kids, you got two things. You got two things you need to do in the next 4 years. One is keep your scholarships. Do not lose the money, because if you lose the money, we're going to have problems. And two, ensure that you get the degree. Like, we're not playing games around here. This is, you can go have a good time. I want you to enjoy yourself. I want you to make friends. I want you to live your best life. And those two things do not need to be sacrificed. And I think, in my opinion, that some of that, can be thwarted or disturbed a bit if we're talking about NIL deals, because the focus can shift. So that is an entry into where I sit on this subject.
Look, if you're listening, don't check out. This isn't just about sports, because I think this is pertinent to life.
Everybody knows what's going on around here, and I think it's high time that For Better and Worse come on the scene to talk about NIL. So let's go.
Well, all right. Well, let's get at it then.
So, a lot of people, argue that college sports, like you said, is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Like, one program itself could, have $1 billion coming in. And I don't know if that's it.
I don't know if one program, you put it together. I'll have to run the numbers, but there are hundreds of programs out there. And you put them all together between Power 5, Division I, the Sub Bowl, and Audi, Division II. You start putting it all together, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
It's a big deal. And so, as you stated, it would be great for these college players to get a piece of the cut, right?
Look.
And so I'm just, I want you to make your opinion clear on how you feel about this.
There is nothing foggy about my opinion, because I'm like, get your bread. These programs are built on the backs of these kids, and you get scholarships and you get a lot of the benefits. And I know kids on college campuses will, hate on the athletes because they get treated so well, but they are a revenue generator. And so I'm like, and I'm focused on football because football generates the most. I'm like, if you're a player on a team that has talent and you can leverage that talent while you're in school, because not every good player is going to make it to the NFL. They're not all going to make it to the league. But if you can leverage that talent now and get paid for it, I'm like, get your money.
So let's talk about what they're getting, right? So some of it is not monetary. Some of it is gifts, and some of it is apparel, and some of it. Some
of it is almost like brand sponsorships.
Yeah. So like our niece, she has a few NIL deals, and it's clothing related. Like, you can go get some stuff with her name, image, and likeness, right? And so that is.
But then she'll get a portion.
She'll get the dollars from it.
Yeah, she'll get a portion of the funds from what's purchased in her shop.
But this also began when we, were talking about how one program in particular was giving away something huge. And we need to clarify what that looked like, because I think that's what got us starting on this conversation.
Yeah, I think everybody saw, a lot of people had to see, like, the University of Utah gave all 85 scholarship players a Dodge Ram, a 2023-24 Dodge Ram pickup truck.
Mm-hmm. And to be clear, it wasn't the university, but the students on the campus got it.
Well, the students on the scholarship players, as part of an NIL deal.
Correct. The university didn't pay for it.
Right. Yes. It was an outside party, and they gave the players a truck. Mm-hmm. But then we started reading more. It was like, wait a minute, they didn't give them the truck. It's like you didn't get it, and it's yours.
It's strings attached.
Access,
yes,
to a vehicle over the course of their eligibility.
Yeah.
And if you became ineligible, they were going to be like, run those keys back.
Exactly. So if you didn't keep up with your academics, if something happened where you messed up, and you fell outside of the terms of this agreement, and it's a 6-month lease. It's like, all right, well, your lease is up. We taking it back.
Yeah, I think that's just another example of how it's a business that's capitalizing on this program, on these kids. So I'm not mad. Look, if they get to use the truck while they're there, okay, fine. They're not getting to take it with them, but I'm like, give it to them.
And that's my challenge. My whole challenge is, if it's not theirs for the keeping, that can be problematic, right? So it sets up this false life that you think you can have. How much do you think that vehicle was?
Oh, that truck is probably like $60,000-$70,000.
Exactly. And when these students come out of school, there will be students on the football team who don't make it to the NFL, but potentially could have had an NIL deal of that magnitude. And then when they come out of school, they're making $60,000, $70,000 because they didn't make it to the league, and they can't afford a vehicle of that nature and keep that lifestyle going. And that is mentally taxing. That is a challenge. Keeping up with all of that is hard for a lot of kids, especially at the age of 22, when they, are trying to figure out life, and they're going to want more than what they actually can afford with their income that they're getting. And that to me sets them up for disappointment in the reality of their financial life. And that's a challenge for me because, frankly, many of my clients, when they're in their mid-40s, is when they begin to wake up. They have not woken up to their finances at age 22, 25, when they're really formative in their career path. And that's a challenge to me.
Look, I don't disagree.
Come on. Do you agree with me, honey?
I don't disagree.
Yeah, see, I hate it when you do that. This double negative thing. Like, we got this.
I did it purposely.
You never want to say you agree. So you're going to say, I don't disagree.
Right. I don't disagree that can set, some things that as around expectations. But I also believe that they need along the way good counseling and guidance. And, that's why I said not in this life, because NIL, it's not going to be for everybody. Like, even teams that have players that have these big NIL deals, not everybody on the team has that. And it's vetted out by your talent, by, how big your star shines. And I get how that works, because and I know we talked about this, the haves and the have-nots and the gap. And it's like those with talent and those with a whole bunch of talent.
But it also widens that gap between the haves and the have-nots. And that too is concerning. Now, I will honestly say, you know what? I don't have a problem with kids getting some money and all of that kind of stuff and having gifts and all of that, because that's what NIL is, right? Some of this is a gift. Some of it is use it while you can, while you're in school, like the vehicle, and some of it is income from your name, image, likeness on product and things like that. And so the challenge is, I don't believe that we have looked at the ramifications long term, because there haven't been any of this long term. Like, we have yet to see these kids graduate from school, like the NIL recipients graduate from school and come out into the world. We have no stats on any of that yet, right?
I think some of these kids that have these big deals are choosing to stay in school. longer.
Yeah, and that
Because they
it's
can
changing the way the game is played.
look, if you are in school, I think I was reading articles about, Colorado and Shador Sanders, and he's eligible to go into the draft this year, but I think he's coming back next year because he's getting close to $4 million this year. He's gonna get more next year in NIL deals.
Dude, he don't need no more money for the rest of his life. But he is how old? 21 years old?
Yeah, he's something like that. But that family, he's been exposed to that.
No, exactly.
Deion Sanders is his father. It's a
True.
whole different situation.
He can't even be in this conversation.
Right, because he came up with a father that was super wealthy. So it's very different for that particular kid. And we don't know Deion, but look, I feel like he has a rational point of view and perspective that he's probably trying to instill in his son Shador and Shiloh.
I agree.
They both got big NIL deals.
I agree. So that brings up another point, is many of these students who come to college and they have put their body and their life on the line for the game. They love it, they enjoy it, and they're coming from disadvantaged areas. They might be coming from low income, communities, and now they have these opportunities with these NIL deals because they're great athletes. And the discrepancy from where they were to where they are is huge. And so the real question is this the right time? Is this how this works? Like that's concerning to me that the shift is so big, right?
Here's the thing. Let's think about, where these kids are coming from. They may be coming from disadvantaged backgrounds or disadvantaged families. And if they didn't have NIL, they could have been playing sports to try and get to the next level. And what if they get hurt? Or what if they're not good enough to make it to the next level? But they're in college and they can tap into something that can help change their family tree. And they need to be responsible. They need responsible people around them to help. I mean, if you get an NIL deal and you're an underprivileged kid, you're going to need some guidance and some help to try and leverage those funds. That's why I'm like, get your money.
Yeah.
Because that can change. You can get hurt in college, never make it to the league. Mm-hmm. Or you can get hurt in college and lose your NIL deal.
And I appreciate that perspective because football is dangerous. Period. Hands down, hard stop. And
one play, game over.
And when you go to the league, if someone goes to the league, their career in the league is short-lived anyway, potentially. Right. It is the shortest career in terms of sports that you can have. You can do so many other sports and be there for 20 years.
If you are a football player and you are trying to be a professional or even an amateur, a quote-unquote amateur athlete in college, you need to have a short-term point of view because that is not a long-term career. It's not a whole bunch of Tom Brady's and Brett Favre's and, these 20-year athletes. Yeah, it's not a bunch of those people out there. Those are few and far. Mm-hmm. The careers are short,
the average, I think it's like average 6 years in the league.
And that's probably on the high side.
That might be on the high side, but yeah.
Right, and that's why I'm like, when you talk about is it fair, is it wrong, I agree that there can be
You said it. You know what? And it's recorded. I love it.
There could be a lot of long-term things that they have to deal with, but I'm like, look, they didn't have access to this anyway. And so I'm like, look, get your money and make it work for you. Mm-hmm. And I hope and I pray that these kids that come from backgrounds where they didn't have, any real financial understanding or literacy, that there are people in their court and in their camp and at these universities to help guide these kids so that they can leverage that income long term.
And I think it is irresponsible for the college program and or the NIL giver or what is it? What do we call it? Sponsor to give these deals, to allow them to engage without the education behind it, right? So let's level set with these kids. I think, and that's the hard part, is the quick adoption of half of the states in the U.S. of the NIL deals has occurred within the last year or two. but we need to also adopt like education on their level at this place so that they can see like the bigger picture and also know how to not just manage what they have, because some of these kids are not like Shador. They're not getting the millions, right? They might be getting a few $1,000s is life changing for them too per month, right? And I think we need to help them more quickly, not wait until they're in the league, right? Because I know that they have programs in the league
And they
when
had rookie symposiums.
right, they go from a college scholarship recipient to millions of dollars, even if they not, first round draft pick. I get all that. But my thing is we have to back that up to this 18 or 19-year-old that's impressionable and just came out of high school with nothing, and they family still having a hard time eating every day.
Well, let me ask you this then. I have a question for you.
Hey, come on. Oh, Lord, he about to put me on the
you-
spot. I can hear it. I can hear it. Why is your voice changing? Why are your eyes like this? Dude, no. Today is a good day for us to not have video.
Look, would you rather they not get these deals? Yeah, see?
It's a catch-22.
Yep, see?
Because
Yep.
I do think about my own child. Like, I do think about if we had a child, a student athlete, who had the opportunity. I mean, I just think about my niece and I'm like, you know what? Good for her. Good for her. So the answer is no. I would not rather they not, but I'm concerned about the short-term ramifications and what it looks like on the campus for the mental health of the students who don't get these things and how they handle that and how they're staying focused on getting a degree or not. And then on the flip side of that as well, like the end, the longer-term impacts of getting these things at an age where it's not sustainable. It just and that's my challenge. So I'm honestly in a quandary about it, and that's what made us have this conversation.
And I get your positions, because I even think about our kids, and we were very blessed in that, though we had saved, some money for them to go to school, we hadn't saved enough for them to, fully pay for college. So we stressed to them, look, you need to be a good student. You need to work hard, and you need to get scholarships. And they bought into that, and they worked hard, and they were rewarded. And I told both of them, I said, look, scholarships are a reward for your hard work. And they both were rewarded for their hard work with, full ride scholarships. And, now we're in a position to, create, we talk about legacy and generational wealth. Now we can pass on, funds to our grandkids or great grandkids, or we can help transition some of those funds to Roth IRAs in their names to get them going down the right road. But they were fortunate that they had you and I.
Absolutely.
Who we went and got our financial PhDs to understand the broader context of money and accounting and investing and all of these different things, taxes, so we could help them. And in the bigger context, these kids, these athletes that are getting these opportunities, I'm happy for them. I'm all for it. But I'd also like to see someone come alongside them that can help give them contextually, hey, this is what you need to do to manage this or take advantage of this and extend the longevity of whatever it is you're getting to help your current position, but your future position. And that's what you're talking about.
It is.
And that's why I said I agree with that. But at the same time, I'm like, look, these kids have been, I won't say exploited, but because they got scholarships.
No, but some of that is exploitation. If the program is, $100 million program and they're getting a scholarship that's worth $150,000 over the course of 4 years, yeah, that sounds to me like exploitation. It's just it's a harsh word.
Right, you got 85 players that are on a Division I football team that are scholarship players. And that might be, depending upon, it might be a couple $100,000 a kid, right? So you're talking about
a few $1 million that you paying for these kids.
Right, but then the program is generating $80 or $90 million overall. And that's why I say that pays for other programs on campuses, and campuses might not have things because football pays for all of this. And that's why I'm like, get your bread.
And then the other thing is I think about our kids too, like they we guard against entitlement, and they never had any NIL deals. Like, how difficult is it for this generation to realize that work and reward is something that is forever? And sometimes when you work and you get that reward, you need to set dollars aside for the future, because you just don't know if your reward will always be there. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people want stuff handed to them, and I'm concerned that being given a truck or something of that sort that is taken away from them is just feeding into this entitlement mentality as well.
But they actually put like a clause in there where they have to maintain their eligibility.
Mm-hmm.
And to be eligible, that means you got to be academically eligible. You got to have conduct that keeps you eligible. So they are telling the kids that, look, these are the expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those expectations are some of the things that help set context around, being able to access this. Because you can't get this, in the University of Utah, you can't just get this truck and then go and just, do whatever, and you missing class, and, you academically ineligible.
You know they out there flossing. I'm
sure they like pull up.
Listen, I'm telling you, I was very serious about our kids getting very inexpensive vehicles.
They don't floss anymore. Now they stunt.
Oh, you know what? Thank you.
They stunt on them.
Appreciate that correction. See, I need to be up with the times, because
I try to keep you. I try to keep you relevant.
They stunting. Got it.
They got stunt on them now.
But like, you know what? Let's see at the end of this school year how many accidents these kids done got into. How many DUIs done occurred?
How many trucks are in the shop?
Literally, because an 18-year-old can't handle that much diesel. I'm not. It's crazy.
I get it.
I mean, how many times did our kids hit the house? You know what I'm saying? Or like run on the curb in their little $5,000 car, $3,000 car. I just can't imagine these big old gas guzzlers they got. And
if I could make a deal with the Lord and be like, look, Lord, give me Division I athletic talent today. Let me go back, get this NIL. I'm going to stun on them too.
I know you would. That's what's crazy. Out there,
iced out, studded up. Like,
you know what? And my little cheerleader butt, I'd have been right there next to you while I'm over here mad, that these kids might have a distorted point of view of money.
Right next to me, stunting right along.
I'll be in that truck like, hey.
But look, it opens the door to some real conversations, though.
Yeah.
We're joking about it, but it's like there's some real conversations that really do need to come in addition to just getting the deals.
Yeah, and I really, my hope and prayer for these students is that they can continue to see the big picture, that they learn from this moment in time, that they have fun, but also, that long-term, financially speaking, they take those things seriously, because that's not something, even myself, like I do this now for my living, my career, and at 18, 19, 20, I wasn't thinking, I did stupid things with money and I didn't have much. Right. And so it just, money amplifies whatever it is that you're doing and however it is that you're being. So if you like to stunt, you're going to be getting, all the things, right?
Yeah, but you know what? I firmly believe that if you are an athlete and you have been, working towards a Division I scholarship, there's a lot of work that goes into that before you get that scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
And when parents have kids that have that level of talent, by the time they get to college, and if they know they have the ability to go beyond that, it's become a business conversation with that child.
Hopefully.
And I'm just saying, because the kid and the parents tend to know like, okay, you have the ability to go to the next level. And so I hope that this is the case, and I know it's not always the case, but they are banking on that next level, right? And so in order to get,
that's good and bad too.
In order to get to that next level, you got to put work in. You got to have some discipline. You got to have focus.
You do.
And so I believe that these NIL deals just help bridge the gap in some ways, until they can get to that next level, because everybody's not going to make it to the next level.
Right. And I think that the other thing is, that means to me that a college athlete, many of them, especially if they have the NIL deals, are no longer amateurs. Like their amateur years were in high school, right? So we're reducing this, right? Like I get
I wish you all could see my face right now.
I get the professional athletes dollar, their salary is a part of that, but I think it shifts the conversation
they're still amateurs
on what an amateur truly is. This is that in between gray area, because Shador, come on now, dude is like, what is he worth now? That doesn't have to do with his father.
He's still an amateur athlete.
Who making millions, and that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. Where is the line drawn? Where is the line drawn?
I'm doing a Shador right now. I'm doing it right now. Look, at my watch, like,
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. So, and I think that it can also put, stress and strain on the family that did help them to get there or supported them as well. Because I'm sure athletes, as soon as they go pro, even if they're walk-ons and they making a few $100,000, their family is looking for something too. You know what I mean? Those kickbacks. And I think that that's a lot for a college athlete to have to deal with. That is for real. That happens, especially with these, disadvantaged, the kids coming from these disadvantaged areas. There's more pressure.
Look, I'm going to bring it home. I'm going to bring it to, everybody out there. I was like, people look and they see like the Powerball, the Mega Millions. It hits like $1 billion,
right?
$1.2, $3, $4 billion, and I don't play the lottery, but when it's like $1.2 billion, I was like, you know what, I can put $10 on it, and I might go and play.
The biggest waste of money,
right? But then we were joking as a family. I was like, if I win, we rich.
Like we rich.
I was like, we rich. But I was like, but our oldest daughter, you can't quit your job, man. You rich, but you can't quit.
No.
Because there's some lessons that you still need to learn.
And that is what I hope, that balance, I hope that families, college programs, mentors, the clauses in these NIL deals will put some healthy boundaries around these kids where they can't go buck wild. Because you're right. I would not want my oldest to quit her job. I'm going to buy you a house. Yes. But you're going to pay. Listen, you're going to pay that electric and that gas bill and go get you some food still. Because you got you a job.
You rich, but I'm going to leave you money in.
We're going to have a trust set up for the rest of that
We're going to take care of you, but you going to work. Because you still need some lessons, some life lessons you need to learn. And that's what this all comes down to, When you talk about, it's the relationship between their family and how these kids are growing up and maturing. And it's, the money piece of it, learning how to manage it and not just, blow it today, but plan and work towards the future. It's all of those things, all those aspects that really are things that we all have to think about and deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do we make it worth it, husband?
You make it worth it by, if you get an NIL deal, go get your money.
Simply put, you know what? You are so to the point. That was direct. It took just a few words.
How do you make it worth it?
I want these programs to help these kids be responsible short-term and long-term, right, with their money. So learn some of these lessons now so that it can pay off in the future as well. Let's not just stunt for today. How about we make sure that we can stunt 20 years from now too? How about that?
Yes, I want them to stunt today and stunt tomorrow. But I really and truly hope that there's people giving them financial education along the way.
Yeah.
And to those parents that are listening out there, to all those future Division I athletes, make sure you come alongside them.
That's right.
Guide them.
Get educated as well. Like the parents get educated as well.
Absolutely. And this is part of our job as parents, as, husband and wife, or, committed couples, is to help raise that next generation so they're not entitled or they don't have this entitlement mentality. Leverage the talents and gifts that you've been given for today, but make those talents long term.
Yeah.
But I'm not changing my position.
And that's fair. And I'm gonna tell you this. Here's the thing. this is what I appreciate about our relationship is that we can value, understand, listen to, and, really try and hear what the other person is saying, even if it's a differing point of view. I don't think that we're fully on complete opposite spectrums, but I just feel like in this case, there's a lot more that I think about in terms of ramifications, and I'm less focused on the go get your money side of it. And I appreciate that we can differ and have fun with it versus argue and think the other person is, out here wild.
Well, I said I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, thanks. You brought that back up, huh? Can you agree with me, though?
Well, what I will say is that
Uh-oh.
I believe that there are principles that we both are expressing that are required for success with these.
That is the longest way to say you agree in the world.
I think we're on the same page, and we're not that far apart. So
Awesome. Well, this has been fun. I have enjoyed you today. I've learned some stuff, and we're also quite passionate about our positions, and I think that will bode well for
these kids run you enterprises.
That's true.
So be about you, because those schools gonna be about them.
There we go.
All right. Till next time, people.
We're out.
Thank you for spending some of your time with us today.
We appreciate all your support. So be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen to this podcast.
You can find us on Instagram at For Better and Worth.
And sign up for our email on forbetterandworth.com.
Till next time, we're out of here.